Hello everyone. Today we'll speak about British writers. And the first one is William Shakespeare. Was He was an English poet, playwright and actor, widely regarded as the greatest writer in the English language and the world's preeminent dramatist. He is often called England's national poet and the bard of Avon. His extant works, including collaborations, consist of approximately 38 plays, 154 sonnets, two long narrative poems, and a few other verses, some of uncertain authorship. His plays have been translated into every major living language and are performed more often than those of any other playwright. The Bronte sisters. They were a 19th-century literary family. The sisters Charlotte, Emily, and Anne are well known as poets and novelists. Like many contemporary female writers, they originally published their poems and novels under male pseudonyms Currer, Alice, and Acton Bell. Their stories immediately attracted attention, although not always the best for their passion and originality. Charlotte's Jane Eyre was the first to know success, while Emily's Wuthering Heights, Anne's The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, and other works were later to be accepted as masterpieces of literature. Robert Burns, also known as Rabbie Burns, the Bard of Ayrshire, and various other names, was a Scottish poet and lyricist. He is widely regarded as the national poet of Scotland and is celebrated worldwide. He is the best known of the poets who have written in the Scots language, although much of his writing is also in English and the light Scots dialect, accessible to an audience beyond Scotland. He also wrote in Standard English, and in these writings his political or civil commentary is often at its bluntest. As well as making original compositions, Burns also collected folk songs from across Scotland, often revising or adapting them. Helen Beatrix Potter was an English author, illustrator, national scientist, and best known for her children's books featuring animals such as those in The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Potter wrote about 30 books, the best known being her 23 children's tales. Henry Henry Graham Greene was an English novelist and author regarded as one of the greatest writers in the 20th century. Combining literary acclaim with widespread popularity, Green had acquired a reputation early in his own lifetime as a great writer both of serious Catholic novels and of thrillers, or entertainments as he termed them. Through 67 years of writings, which included over 25 novels, he explored the ambivalent moral and political issues of the modern world, often through a Catholic perspective. William Somerset Maugham was a British playwright, novelist, and short story writer. He was among the most popular writers in his era and reputedly the highest paid author during the 1930s. Alexander Pope was an 18th-century English poet. He is best known for his satirical verse, as well as for his translation of Homer. Famous for his use of the heroic couplet, he is the second most frequently quoted writer in the Oxford Dictionary of Quotations, after Shakespeare. Percy Bysshe Shelley was one of the major English Romantic poets, and is regarded by some as among the finest lyric, as well as epic, poets in the English language. A radical in his poetry as well as in his political and social views, Shelley didn't see fame during his lifetime, but recognition for his poetry grew steadily following his death. Shelley was a key member of a close circle of visionary poets and writers that included Lord Byron, Leigh Hunt, Thomas Love Peacock, and his own second wife Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein. Robert Louis Balfour Stevenson was a Scottish novelist, poet, essayist, and travel writer. His most famous works are Treasure Island, Kidnapped, and Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. A literary celebrity during his lifetime, Stevenson now ranks among the 26 most translated authors in the world. Charles Lutwidge Dodson, better known by his pen name Lewis Carroll, was an English writer, mathematician, Anglican deacon, and photographer. His most famous writings are Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, its sequel Through the Looking Glass, which includes the poem Jabberwocky and the poem The Hunting of the Snark, all examples of the genre of literary nonsense. He is noted for his facilitated wordplay, logic, and fantasy. There are societies in many parts of the world dedicated to the enjoyment and promotion of his works and the investigation of his life. Ronald Dahl was a British novelist, short story writer, poet, screenwriter, and fighter pilot. Dahl's short stories are known for their unexpected endings, and his children's books for their unsentimental, often darkly comic content, featuring villainous adult enemies of the child characters. His works for the children include James and the Giant Peach, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, The Witches, Fantastic Mr. Fox, George's Marvelous Medicine, and The Twits. Adult works include Tales of the Unexpected and My Uncle Oswald. Abraham Brand Stoker was an Anglo-Irish author, best known today for his Gothic novel Dracula. During his lifetime, he was better known as the personal assistant of actor Henry Irving and business manager of the Lyceum Theatre in London, which Irving owned. William Makepeace Thackeray was an English novelist of the 19th century. He is famous for his satirical works, particularly "Vanity Fair", a panoramic portrait of English society. Jane Austen was an English novelist whose works of romantic fiction, set among the landed gentry, earned her a place as one of the most widely read writers in English literature. Her realism, biting irony, and social commentary, as well as her acclaimed plots, have gained her historical importance among scholars and critics. John Ronald Reuel Tolkien was an English writer, poet, philologist, and university professor who is best known as the author of the classic high fantasy works "The Hobbit", "The Lord of the Rings", and "The Silmarillion". While many other authors had published works of fantasy before Tolkien, the great success of "The Hobbit" and "The Lord of the Rings" led directly to a popular resurgence of the genre. This has caused Tolkien to be popularly identified as the father of modern fantasy literature, or more precisely of high fantasy. In 2008, The Times ranked him sixth on a list of the 50 greatest British writers since 1945. Forbes ranked him the fifth top-earning dead celebrity in 2009. Okay, this is the end. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.